Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
March 16th, you're back in the octagon. It's been a few months. Actually, it's been quite a few months since your last fight. Josiane Nunes, what are your thoughts on her and the matchup?
I think she's a small bantamweight. I think she should be fighting at not featherweight, flyweight or strawweight. But I think the reason she's had so much success is because she's fighting girls that are coming down weight classes to fight her. So they've had really hard cuts, and I even have a hard cut at bantamweight. So I feel like that's why she's getting these big knockouts. And because she's not cutting much weight, she has a ton of energy and she's going to come forward the entire time. So I think she's a hard, formidable opponent that I need to be prepared for. And I'm excited for the fight.
Yeah, definitely. She's kind of created a little buzz for herself. She's on a 3-fight win streak. And you mentioned the size. She's 5'3", you're 5'8". That's a 5-inch height difference. How does that affect the approach to the fight?
So, well, I have to get short midgets to fight to spar with, so I got to go pick on these little people to fight me every week. Uh, Approaching the fight, there are certain things that I've been working on, like staying on the outside, piecing her up from the outside. And then also she's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so I plan on exploiting that as well. So in terms of training, nothing's really changed. I just get smaller people. That's about it.
And not just the height. The size. There will be a size difference. And in the past, when you had a size advantage, were you able to capitalize on it?
Yeah, when I cut to bantamweight, I feel like I'm always a lot bigger than my opponents. I walk into the cage probably at 165 pounds on fight night. I put on the weight really well. Uh, as opposed to featherweight, I was walking in at 65, and I don't feel like I got like a big size advantage. So yeah, when I'm fighting at bantamweight, I feel like I'm bigger. I can do with a little bit more bullying and use my size to my advantage.
Yeah, and that's the style, right? That you love is the bullying style, right?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And your opponent, like I mentioned earlier, she's 3-0. But what do you think about the level of competition she has faced, though?
She I think she fought Ramona Pascual at 45 for her debut. And I think Ramona took that fight on a couple weeks' notice, something like that. So she fought Bia Malecki, who I think that also was like a short notice fight. But Bia had a really hard weight cut to 35. That girl's like 6 foot tall. So, and then prior to UFC, I don't really think a lot of her opponents were that good. And it's kind of a padded record. So I feel like I'll be a true test for her. And I'm really excited to go out there and throw punches.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like because of the last fight, there are way more eyes on you now. You did a very great job of hyping the fight pre-fight, during the fight, and after the fight. You
Yeah.
rarely ever see that. Let's just talk about the fight. Against Norma Dumont, and that moment where you ran. Explain that moment, because Michael Chandler did a video about that. Did you see the video that Michael
I
Chandler made?
did. I saw it. And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember just not really agreeing with him. And I don't know. He has a saucy way of words and stuff and whatever. But no, I felt like, well, I used to run track, so I honestly, and for fighting, it's especially when you're fighting like at least the top 15 inches, like millimeters matter. So one little mistake can cost you the fight. And I got hit, and I really didn't recover from that for the rest of the fight. And I went in there a little too cocky and should have stuck to my game plan. But I like to run forward and fight and bring the fight to somebody. And she hit me, and I said to myself at that moment, I was like, if I stand here, I'm gonna go night night. So all I could do was, I guess, run, recover, and I fought the rest of the fight. So uh yeah, I'm not really hating on it. It took me a while to go back and watch the fight, and I watched the fight, and I feel like I was real critical on myself and my performance, and there were a lot of things that I should have done better, and that was a really winnable fight for me. And that night she was better, and she did some things that were I mean, they called her a veteran and this and that, but she did the stuff that was needed to win. She didn't really do a lot of damage to me. She kind of just held me down, made a bunch of moaning noises, and she won the fight.
Yeah, getting hit and then having to fight on cruise control in many
Yeah.
ways, how was that for you?
You know, because it was featherweight, I feel like I didn't really take the weight cut as seriously as I should have, and I don't think I recovered from the weight cut that well. So when I got hit, you just sometimes you just got to like go on your back foot, recover, and I just didn't recover fast enough. And then I was pushing forward too much when I should have been sitting back, and uh I mean, a lot of that could probably be attributed to the weight cut and my training, and but I fixed those things and I'm ready for March 16th.
Yeah, it was a step up in competition, without a doubt when you fought Norma Dumont and like you said, once you get hit, you don't know what's gonna happen after that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you said, most girls or most fighters will stand there after they get hit and just start swinging, winging punches, just go punch for punch. I thought you did the smart thing by retreating.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, all great wars. Sometimes you're getting shot at. You got to get behind the car to get your shot back
Yeah,
before you take
yeah,
a bunch of bullets. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm not hating
The-
on it.
yeah.
I'll take it as a win in this fight if I don't do that. So
You handled it so well, and you know what you handled really well is the whole DC situation where you posted the video of him running away from John
oh
Jones, and I was
God, I
like, man.
know. Yeah, I mean, you got all these people that are out there, and at the end of the day, I really don't care what people think, and it wasn't something that kept me up at night. But you have all these people that are saying, "Oh, you're this or you're that, you're scared, you're chicken them." At the end of the day, I fought the rest of the fight. I go in the cage, I fight in front of the whole world to watch, and if I was chicken, I wouldn't be fighting. And people can say all they want, but they're not the ones in the cage getting hit and throwing punches and putting basically their life on the line for the world to see, because people do die in the cage. So uh being out there in front of the world, I mean, yeah, it was a big buildup, and yeah, I caused probably a lot of the buildup, and with a lot of eyes comes a ton of criticism, and just being able to roll with the punches is something that I've learned, and it's I think it's important.
It's very critical in this game. You know what I mean? A lot of people
Oh.
get crushed by like comments. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
comments like on social media, and me from interviewing you, throughout your career so far, I know that you're that personality of like, fuck it, like who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a good attitude to have, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I really don't use Instagram that much, and I don't have my notifications on. But sometimes I'll see ones like, are you gonna run again? And I'm like, well, I'm not planning on it, but you never know, right? Like, says Joe Blow, who probably would run if he got socked by a fighter. So
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time I took a lot of it as just like laughter, like you guys don't know what it's like, you're not doing what I'm doing, and yeah.
How were you after the fight physically?
Uh, physically, I was good. My face right here was a little black and blue, but nothing really bad at all. I mean, I really took I think two punches in the fight, maybe three or four, but I just kept training afterwards, and yeah, I didn't take any damage to where I couldn't train.
So your focus before even getting into this camp was you just was training. You just like, I'm just gonna be ready for my next opportunity, basically.
Yeah, and it we got messaged by the matchmaker the next week asking, "Hey, when can she fight again at 35?" So I took it as, okay, they want me to fight. So I'm like, okay, let's go in December. They're gonna ask if I want to fight again, and I ask for December, and I don't get December, and I don't even get hit up until December, and I'm like, it kind of is annoying too, because at the same rate, like having a diet and do all that stuff, for me, I like having a goal and a mindset and having something in front of me, like, okay, on this day you have to be this, so I can set goals, plan things, and make stuff work out. And it's just hard sometimes when you're sitting there like, okay, nobody's calling. When am I fighting? And um, so I'm pretty happy that they gave me the fight in March, but I really wanted to fight in December and try to be active. But yeah, we're here.
Yeah, what can you do? With training camp, I know it's a pretty hectic time for you, because you go to multiple places. Are you still at the same spots that you've been training?
So I've done a couple different changes this camp. I'm not really going up to Sacramento as much because for me, I was doing really early morning strength and conditioning stuff. And I'm waking up at like 5 or 6 a.m. and going up there, and I was losing probably 4 hours of my day every, I think, 3 times a week. So it was kind of taking a toll on all my other training for the strength and conditioning. So I'm not doing that. I'm doing a lot of stuff here, but also like by the time fight night came, I was tired by the time it was time to fight because I was so used to being up at 6 in the morning every day. So I've also taken into account like when's this fight's going to be. I think it's going to probably be around 2 in the afternoon. So I've been trying to tailor my training schedule to fight time. So I do, yeah, morning workouts. Like I think of that as a morning, getting ready for a fight, and then like around 2 I have like hard sparring, I have my hard trainings, I do runs and stuff. So a lot of my work has been here in Stockton. I've also been going up to Caesar Gracie's for jiu-jitsu and things like that, but the majority of it's been in Stockton because I was getting burned out driving around everywhere, and I don't have a driver. So yeah.
One day you'll have a
Yeah,
driver.
that will be real nice. Yeah, just drive
Yeah,
me, I can go to sleep.
yeah, yeah. Um, what's your expectations in this fight from yourself?
So my expectations in this fight, well, my expectation is this is going to probably be a hard 3 round fight. And I say that because she is small. She doesn't cut a ton of weight. So I think she'll have a chin a lot. Uh, and I think I'll be able to hit her, stay on the outside jab, and I also be able to exploit her in jiu-jitsu. But I'm preparing for a 3 round war, and I'm really excited for this fight.
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup, and you're a person that cuts down to 135, a person that just recently got signed and has been added to the division, but I don't think they've ever fought at 135. Maybe one time, Kayla Harrison. What do you think of that situation?
You know, at the end of the day, that fight, I feel like the UFC, she's got a name for herself. She's built up a name, and everybody knows who she is. So I mean, even if she goes in there and makes cuts to 140, and Holly Holm, they'll be able to offer her a little something for her to make the fight. I think Holly Holm is getting older, and she's a company woman. So I think that fight's going to happen regardless. And it's a UFC 300. It's a big card. So whether or not she makes weight, I don't think it really matters to anybody, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, she has, I think, blood sugar issue or hypoglycemia or something. So I mean, at the end of the day, you never know if she's going to make it or not. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, yeah, it brings excitement to the division. We really don't have a ton of excitement. So I think
It
it's
does,
good.
it does, it does, and yeah, I'm just interested to see like if she performs well at like a depleted state, in a depleted state, like at
Right.
135. You know,
Right. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say until you go in there and you get hit and you see what happens. And I think she also looks sometimes depleted at sometimes at 45, sometimes at 55. And I mean, when you have blood sugar issues or things like that, anything can go, like as a woman, anything can go wrong in a weight cut. You could start your period, you could have some type of hormone going on, and your weight just didn't come off like it would, and then you can't put the weight back on, or your brain is dehydrated. So for like women, it's, you can never know how good you're going to perform in the cage because of the weight cut and how it goes. And a lot of people are real good at not showing you if they had a bad weight cut or not. So we'll see. I'm excited for that fight. I think it'll be interesting.
yeah, a little bit more action in the division. Raquel Pennington is the new champion. Did that surprise you?
No, because there's nobody in the division right now. So you look at the Mara chick. She fought, who she fight? She fought Stephanie Egger, armbarred her real quick. That girl wasn't ranked. She fought I don't know. She fought a couple other no name girls that weren't ranked. And then she gets to go in, fight Holly Holm, who's like number 6. She's on Adderall. You know, she fails her drug test. She gets fined by the commission, gets suspended for 6 months, and she gets rewarded with a title shot, which is, I think, crazy. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it as there is nobody in the division right now. I think it's wide open, and even if I have a couple wins, I think I could be right in her shoes and do what she did. So, I mean, you look at Strickland, he had like 2 or 3 losses in a row, and then he built up like 2 wins, and he got a title shot and got the title. So it's wide open right now, and yeah, I'm not surprised because they're giving it to anybody who's making noise and making people look. And if I would have done what I should have done with Norma, I'd be in a real good spot right now too. So,
Oh,
you
yeah, you
know,
would be in the mix. You would be in
yeah.
the mix if you would have took her
So
out. Yeah, but
it's
just one
little
loss, so
things. Yeah, little
yeah.
mistakes, things like that. And that's just how the fight game is, So,
Yeah, like you
yeah.
said, it's wide open, which makes it a good division to be in for someone like you. You know what I mean? Trying to building themselves up, and like you said, it could be what by the end of the year you could be in the mix. You never know. Like that's how
Yeah.
fast this sport goes, right?
It's fast. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You just got to do a couple wins, a couple nice knockout arm bars,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And then everybody likes you again. Like people
yeah,
only remember your last fight. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think you're gonna be. I think people are gonna remember this one coming up, March 16th, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas. Chelsea, thank you so much for taking the time, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I think people are gonna be excited for this.
Yeah. I'm excited. Thank you.